Okay, so I was kind of having some issues with my file storage and a few other things. So here's kind of what I did. I was kind of running low on space, and I also had a little bit lack of redundancy compared to what I wanted, because I was storing files on a server, but that server had no backup anywhere. So if that server failed, I'd lose quite a bit of photos and stuff that I don't want to lose. So I got my hands on 4 of these guys. It wasn't cheap, but got them. These are 2 TB WD Reds. Reason I went for the Reds, they're actually built for RAID arrays and stuff. They actually had all the features to run them well in RAID arrays, but they took them out and made you pay extra, which is kind of annoying. But I actually got these guys pretty cheap, and they were cheaper than the standard desktop drives. They're also a bit slower. I'm gonna put on some screens some benchmarks that I did of these drives. So here's the benchmark of the drive that was one of them I used Crystal Disk for, and it's about 150 read, 150 write. And I ran them all in RAID 0 just for fun. And I was getting around 600 read, 600 byte, which is really nice. And what I'm actually going to be doing is I'm going to be running these all in a RAID 5, and because I'm going to be using a PERC, Dell PERC 6, 6i, yeah, I'm limited to 2 TB, so that's why I went with the 2s. I probably went with 4s if I didn't have the PERC limitation, but you know what, it's fine. What else is that? Okay, here's the big problem now. I currently have one file server. It's really slow because it's on a pretty low-end RAID card on RAID 5, so it can read pretty fast, but it's a horrible write speed. And I have this guy, the actual PERC cards can write really fast. And also has a lot of RAM as a cache. So that's nice. I have to copy, so currently I'm using that guy. What I want to do is I want to copy it all over to the server that has these drives on it. And then I'm gonna go and, once they're all on these drives, I'm going to copy it all over to these drives and use that other server as a backup to these drives. I'm probably going to reconfigure it as using MD RAID in Linux, because it's going to be quite a bit faster, hopefully, than using that RAID card. And then I'm also going to use the extra space on there for incremental backup, so I can't accidentally delete something. So let's go look at a server right now and kind of see what's happening. Okay, so here's where the file servers are. These guys are also doing some other stuff, but they're mainly being used to store some files and stuff. So, for some reason, I don't know what you're doing. You should be shutting down. And yeah, okay, he just turned off. I actually have to climb up here. Yeah, okay. So what my plan is because, here's the thing, it's pretty slow copying files over gigabit Ethernet, especially when you have several terabytes to copy. So what my big plan is now is I'm gonna actually take out the RAID card, or I'm not gonna take this guy out because I have another one that's just like it. And I'm gonna actually just put the RAID card into this other server, because that RAID array should be able to get about 350 read speeds, and gigabit Ethernet's limited to around 100 it seems to be, so I can triple my speed and get all the files copied back onto these drives here. So I'm going to throw that RAID card in there, and let me go get the other one so I don't have to pull that one out of this guy. Okay, so I got this RAID card here. I'm now going to pop the hood off of the big server, this guy here. There you go, now I have it temporarily have a little cable, SFF8087 cable going between the two so I can get the highest possible transfer rates. And it doesn't have its hood on because I'm just running a cable out the side of it, but it's going to be really loud. So I'm hoping it transfers quickly so I can take it out soon. Now let's go look at, I'm going to probably use rsync to go copy all these files, so let's go look at the software part of this. Okay, so here it is copying files. You see with big files it's going at around 90 megabytes per second. Here's the load on the CPU. It isn't that high, but it's around, the load average is around 2. Right now it's about half full because I'm copying all the files over. And here are some of the speeds. So this is the new server. So we're thinking pretty fast. Here's a solid state drive for comparison. That's a Samsung 840 EVO. Here's my old file server. So you can see pretty good jump in speeds, especially on the writes. What else is there? Oh yeah. So the speeds on the copying, I found if it's a big file, I seem to be peaking around, let's see if it'll show me. Yeah, okay. If it's a big file, I seem to be peaking around 90 megabytes per second. I thought that was a limitation of gigabit, because gigabit's theoretical max is 125. But apparently it's not, because it's plugged in directly, and this isn't going over Ethernet. So I'm guessing it's limited by the CPU and rsync. I'm gonna just test the standard CP command, and I'm guessing I can get quite a bit more, because rsync seems to be pretty single-threaded. Okay, so I finally finished transferring, I think, 3.7 terabytes of files. This guy just turned off. I don't know what he was doing. He might be having issues because he wasn't showing up on the network at all, but all I was using him to do was just power up some drives, because I actually put the RAID card from him into this guy. So now I'm going to pull it back up, make this guy an individual unit, and then I'm going to make sure this guy's all configured. So next part I'm going to show is how I'm going to configure this guy. I don't know how this guy's doing, because he wasn't appearing, I couldn't SSH into him earlier, but I'm going to check him, and hopefully this guy's working, because I'm going to be doing a lot more reconfiguration on him soon. Not for a while though, because I just have to make sure everything's working right on here. Okay, so let's fire him up now. This guy's on now. I basically made him basically silent, because he wasn't always out here. And then this guy is loud. So now I'm going to show a little bit more stuff in software, and then we'll finish this video. And now it's all set up and being used. Here's the speeds that I get through the network. So over a gigabit network, that's basically maxed on gigabit. It's copying service to the old one, and that's why it's so slow, but it's going at 25 megs a second. That's going to take a while to copy. You can see the load. We're not really doing very much at all right now. And yeah, it's all here. So thanks for watching this video about upgrading the file server, and please like and subscribe if you do.